Well, Brandon/Tony, welcome to Drunk Comics.
About time. That's all I can say. I am here.
It did take us a while to book this. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for inviting me, man. It's cool.
So, what do you want to tell me about yourself? Where are you from?
I am originally and currently residing in Columbus, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's a good state. I'm partial.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship. It really is. But at the end of the day, I think it's more love than hate because I left this place once. I moved to North Carolina when I was in 8th grade, and I ended up moving back 2 years later, and I haven't left.
Right, so how'd you get into Apple? I love it. How'd you get into comics and superheroes?
So it's interesting because I don't know exactly when I got into comics itself. I do remember at a very young age I was into your basic like little kid stuff that you're into, but at the time like He-Man was really big, G.I. Joes, Transformers, Ghostbusters, and
Yep.
while there were comics of this stuff, like I don't know if they had it at the time, but I was unaware. So I was a fan of like cartoons. Um, the first memory of comics I really have is like from the funnies in the newspaper or the good old Bazooka Joe from the gum,
Oh, God, yes, I remember those.
Good old Bazooka Joe. That guy's a dick.
Yes.
If I remember right, he's a dick.
But then you like Bazooka Joe. What else is he going to be?
Right. I mean, the flavor doesn't even last that long, so no wonder why he's got a shitty attitude.
I'd be crazy too.
Right. As far as like comic books themselves, I don't remember how old I was. I know I was real young. Um, I know it's kind of a stretch, maybe anywhere between like 7 and 10, because it was after like He-Man, Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles. Forgot about that one. That's really important.
Very important.
My dad got me these comic books. Now I didn't really get into wrestling until the late '90s, mind you. I'm a huge wrestling fan now. Own my own company, as you know, with a couple of my friends, and um, he got these. I don't even know where he got them from, but they were WWF comic books, and it has
Nice.
some of like the more iconic characters in it, like Undertaker, Jake the Snake, um, Ultimate Warrior, Big Boss Man, maybe Hulk Hogan. So like really old school era type, and I liked it, but I didn't really ever like 100% get into wrestling. And then it wasn't until later where kids were walking around high school doing the crotch chop, suck it, and I'm like, what's this all about? And then I hear about Stone Cold Steve Austin drinking beer and flipping the bird to his boss. I'm like, dude, that sounds badass. And I started watching it, and then I got hooked. Not to get off the comic story, but so yeah,
No.
that was like the first comics that I ever got that I remember. As far as like superhero stuff, I don't honestly remember any of the first superhero comics that I received, and it kind of sucks because it'd probably be good information to have. But I always watched like cartoons. I was really big into. I remember the Iron Man cartoon that they had.
That was a good one.
Where, remember Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince? He was actually Rhodey. He was War Machine in that cartoon.
Is he really?
Also, he was the brother in the original Ninja Turtles cartoon.
I did know that one. I forgot it momentarily, but I did know that he was Shredder.
Yep. Yeah, he was War Machine. I'm like, that's awesome. That guy is so good. He was in a bunch of other things too, cartoons and stuff. Some bigger, some smaller roles, but yeah. So I was into that. I was in the '90s Spider-Man cartoon, not the one that came before that. I don't even think I still watched that one yet. I probably should just to see it. It's probably cheesy as fuck, but still got to be good, right? A little bit.
The one where all the memes came from.
Yeah.
You. Everyone knows that meme.
The fact we pointed at the same time on camera. I hope that lines up really good on the video later.
I hope
That's fucking
great minds think alike. Speaking of series, what are we talking about today?
So today, I've seen a few different things that you guys have discussed recent episodes, and I'm like, well, let's do something a little different, and let's
Mhm.
do a couple of my favorites. Let's do an old favorite of mine, which would be X-Men. Love the animated series back in the 90s. It was so awesome, still awesome. I own the DVDs, and now it's on Disney Plus, so I guess whatever. Uh, it's
Yeah.
still cool because I can display the covers if I want to, so whatever, it's all good. So X-Men is definitely some of my favorite. Wolverine probably being my favorite single, and it's ironic because his original comic series, like his own comic series, came out September of '82, same year I was born.
It's meant to be.
Right. So I'm like, fuck yeah! Which I ended up buying at a con for. It says I think $80, but I think I paid a few bucks less than that. They're not in great condition, but they're in okay condition, and that's all I wanted. I wanted to own them, and I wanted to be able to read them.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
they had it up on the rack. I don't remember if I got that one in Chicago or if that was at Madison, honestly, but because that was one where I was going to with my dad. When we were going to cons a lot back then, so. But yes, so today we're going to do Avengers versus X-Men. I have a few of them next to me, but I will just show the first one. And I don't know if the covers change, if they do multiple printings or not. Do you know? Do they change the cover
Not
or?
sure. I will look into it, and I can always put the images in the video after while I'm editing.
Because this is the first one, but it's the second printing because apparently I was late to the show. Some of these I don't even know if I got any actually first printing. Round two, this was the fifth printing. Like this blew up huge because like
Nice.
how do
Makes
you
sense,
pin how do you pin the Avengers versus the X-Men? Like I want to see that. What has to go wrong that this is happening?
right?
But here's I'm gonna try to not have the flash. It's kind of
Nice.
shiny because of the
Yep,
light.
I see it.
Yeah,
Looks
that's
good.
got a lot of people on it. And the cool thing about these is in every issue, and it changes too. I'll show this too. Um, it will show you a roster of who's
Ooh,
on
that's
what
pretty.
side. So you got
Wow,
Avengers.
the X-Men don't have as many people on their side as the Avengers.
Oh, but wait, because every edition it changes. So like one time it might be more than the other. Sometimes it might be more equal. You've got people switching sides.
Yeah,
Shit
because
is
Wolverine,
real.
and they're fighting over who gets custody of Wolverine. That's really what caused it, isn't it? They're fighting over custody of Wolverine.
You know, it's definitely part of it. No. He's definitely one of those people who is he's obviously an X-Man, but because of the events, he's like no. So basically, the premise of the story: Jean Grey is dead, sad. If I remember correctly, Cyclops is with Emma Frost now, which is weird. But
Yeah, that's a whole thing. He made out with Emma Frost on Jean Grey's fresh grave. Fucked up, man.
oh
That's a whole other episode, but there's
yeah,
some
what the fuck?
it was messed up. Wolverine kicked his ass a little for it.
Cool.
I love Cyclops, I really do, but sometimes
Right,
Cyclops is a
right. Like really, like I don't know. I was reading it and I'm like, when the hell did that happen?
it happened right before Jean's death. He psychically cheated on Jean with Emma, and Jean found out, and they got into it, and then Jean died. He chose Jean right before Jean died, and then Jean died, and Jean's spirit pushed him towards Emma, and then he and Emma ended up making out on her grave, and Wolverine kicked his ass for it. And I don't know. Most people don't react to their wife dying by making out on their fresh grave that literally was just dug.
Right.
So
Like
gross.
that's something if you do if you want to be an asshole or spiteful, like what the shit?
Yeah, well, X-Men is a soap opera.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting sometimes.
Yep.
So uh, they've got their daughter Hope, and so she is definitely one of the main pieces to the puzzle here.
Yep.
So I believe the first one starts out. I don't know if it's like a comet or this big fireball or something hits Earth, or of course around where the Avengers are, and they're kind of like, "Holy shit, what's going on?" And now they realize, okay, the Phoenix is on its way, and
Shit.
they already have it pinpointed who's going to be the next host. Naturally, it's going to be Jean Grey's daughter.
Of course.
So they're like, okay, well, we're the Avengers. We're Earth's mightiest heroes, right? We need to fucking stop this thing. How are they going to do that? We need to get Hope Summers. we're going to take her in.
But when did Jean have time to have a daughter?
I don't know.
Weird. This is some sort of timeline bullshit. X-Men love that
Probably
stuff.
it's probably another story that's off of the several
Yeah,
other fucking stories. You can't go based off of anything. I don't know.
love it. Again, soap opera.
Yes. So they're like, okay, we're going to handle this. Well, then on the X Men side, and of course Scott being the leader still, and I think Professor X is kind of out of the picture currently. The one book that I got to read today, I think it might have been part 8. He was in it, and I'm like, holy shit! Now what's going to happen? Because it's getting real, especially with the 5 here that we were talking about earlier.
Hmm.
Um, so he's just like, hey, trying to get her to be able to channel her powers. And then I think they kind of figure out that, hey, the Phoenix is heading towards her. We need to figure this out. And of course, as X Men, it's usually an in house problem. They take care of it themselves, which is understandable. Like,
But
you don't hate
also,
either one.
X-Men, how did that work out for you with Jean Grey and the Phoenix?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you
How many
help her
times?
handle that shit? Did you? Did you? Okay, go on.
So I'm trying to think. I don't remember if the Avengers contacted Wolverine. It's been probably about a month now since I reread originally, because this is from 2012. I originally read the first 6, I want to say. And then for whatever reason, I didn't read anything. Life happens. And then you
Yeah.
fast forward, and then I'm like, I want to read these. And then we start talking about doing this video show, and I'm like, yeah, I want to talk about this. And that'll give me reason to read it. And I still haven't finished. I still got 3 to go. But that's okay because I can't ruin it for anybody. I will read it soon, I promise, and I will let you know what I think of it.
You have
Because
to do part
right, I mean, I really want to read it because it's really getting kind of crazy now because the 5 have already evolved. Um, but where was I? So Wolverine gets
two.
involved
Helping Hope
somehow.
Summers train in the hopes that she can control the Phoenix.
Yeah, and we know that's not going to happen. Wolverine somehow gets involved, and he doesn't necessarily say he wants to kill her. I don't think it started talking about her dying right away, but at some point, if this consumes you, I'm going to kill you. Like that, as blunt as he could be, because he knows
Then
what the Phoenix could do before, and he's like, we're not doing that again. And
that's
of
fair.
course, Scott doesn't want that to happen because Scott's like, no, she can control it. Scott, you're an idiot. Like you haven't learned. So then, of course, when this is all going on, the Avengers are trying to take her and stuff, and there's a fight in between them. I mean, there's quite a few fights throughout this series too. and it's a matter of being in control of her and like trying to keep her safe and like, hey, this is our problem. Like, we're protecting the world because you guys didn't do a good job last time, And we're like, hey, this is an in-house problem. This is my daughter. This is. And while you're reading this, like, no one side is wrong, Like,
Right.
it's. I mean, I guess it's not necessarily a better scenario, but you can really pull for both sides more than you can with like a Professor X or Magneto. Like, they have the same idea, but they go about it totally different ways.
Right.
These guys are kind of going about it what you would think would be the right way. Like, on either side, you could totally relate. And you're like, fuck, I'm torn. Like, what's going to happen?
Like,
Especially
yeah,
when
is it really okay to kill a child?
right.
Even if it saves the world?
Now, I don't know if they're necessarily saying they're going to kill her before, but I think like if it happens, like we're taking you out because if it doesn't have a host, in theory,
Right.
can't really do much, can it? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think they really know a lot about the Phoenix anyways, but they're like, this is a problem, we're gonna take care of it. And they're just like, no, this is not happening. So at some point when we go fast forward a few books into it, Phoenix is like right there. And so now
Shit.
as you know, and maybe some people that will watch this video may know about the Phoenix Five, and I didn't know about the Phoenix Five until this series, until I just started reading this. I'm like, what the fuck? It's bad, right? Because now instead of having one entity with all this power, now you have five of them.
Whoops.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert, kids. Mute this if you don't want to hear it in the next 10 seconds. But
Uh,
to no surprise, Tony Stark is the reason. I won't tell you how, but Tony Stark essentially is the reason that there are five of them bastards now instead of just one.
he was trying to help.
He was trying to help, yes, but like perfect Tony Stark luck. Like, can the guy get a break already? Come on.
Well, his intentions are good sometimes.
Right. He does. I will say this at a certain point because maybe I'll talk about this. This is kind of cool. Once the five had absorbed the Phoenix power, they could feel where people were, right? So, like, if the Avengers were around, let's say, they could feel where they were. They could potentially go and attack them if they wanted to. Well, the last part that I just read before the whole Professor X thing, because that was at the end. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, what's gonna happen now? Um, Tony came up with a device, and he told Cap, he's like, "Hey, I gave you something. Use it." I think it was Cap, Panther, Iron Fist, and a couple other people, and they went to where Wolverine and Hope was. They're like, "Hey, we need to get you out of here." Um, Shit, who was that other guy? I don't remember who this other guy was. He was one of the five, I think. One of the five, we'll say. Uh, and he
And
was
you
just
should list who are the five.
well, let me pull it up. I can actually show you in the book. It will show you on just like the roster page.
Yep.
I think was it this one or was it the other one? Let me see if it's on this
I know who some of the Phoenix Five are, but I don't remember who all of them are.
one. It's Cyclops, Frost, and I want to say was it oh fuck, why can't I think of his name? Colossus, I think. And the one is getting away from me. Okay. Cyclops, Emma Frost, Colossus, Magic, and I don't know if it's Namor or Namor,
I think it's pronounced Namor.
but Namor is the one who goes fucking batshit crazy and starts fighting with the Avengers.
Of
But
course.
here's a roster right there.
Uh-huh.
So now, you got Avengers, the Fab Five there, and then the X Men,
No
and
bad fun.
that's number 7.
Nice.
I don't know if it had it in an earlier one, but I do remember it had it in the later ones for sure. But yeah, so Namor is wrecking ship. Cyclops sees what's going on. They're like, well, hey, hey, at least we know where the Avengers are. And he's like, yeah, we do. Let's go. All right, cool. Well, then they go because they're going to try to intervene. And I don't know if they're necessarily going to attack or stop dude because they said that the guy is kind of his own mutant. I don't know too much about him, so I can't really say anything about him. But
He's like
he
the
seems like
Marvel version of Aquaman.
okay, it's kind of a
Only
loner and
kind of more evil.
yeah, more asshole-ish. Especially from him attacking all these people, and so
Yeah. There's definitely, I'm sure there's more to him than that, but I'm definitely not as well versed in Namor. But yeah.
I
Anyways,
mean,
go.
I could totally pull out my Marvel encyclopedia and look if I really wanted to, but you know, I
Yeah,
don't.
it's Drunk
I'd have to
Comics.
I'd have to get up right now, and I was gonna do notes and like have like cliff notes written down, and I'm just like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna wing it because that's how I do it the best is winging it.
It is a very Tony Stark approach.
That's how I live my life is winging it.
You way to live your life unless you're creating a Phoenix Five,
Right.
and that's
Yeah.
not so good. We're
Bad.
gonna go out on a limb and say that's a bad thing. Don't do that. Don't try that at home, kids.
No. Don't. Not good.
Also, if you're actually a kid, turn this video off right now. This is not appropriate.
Yeah, yeah. Why the fuck are you watching two grown ass adults drinking, talking about comic books? Shouldn't you be in bed by now? They'd be watching it like 2 in the afternoon. Mom, why do I have to be in bed? Oh shit.
More
Um,
consequences.
what did I? Oh no, I lost it.
So Namor is going
Yes.
crazy.
So Stark tells Captain and the guys that are going for Wolverine and Hulk, hey, make sure you use it. You got, and you're like, what is he talking about? Use it. So before the rest of the 5 get there, uh, Cap has something up his sleeve, like literally, like it's like a device or something, and basically it blocks them from sensing that they're around.
Nice.
And I'm like, way to go, Stark! You've redeemed yourself. They took out Namor, and a not so good thing happened.
Of course.
The remaining 4 absorb the power of the 5th one.
Uh-oh. Not good.
Then enters Professor X. Like this is totally like I mean I totally sped this through a little bit, but um main notes because I don't want to give you like all the details, right? Like kind of a main story here. Um Xavier, gets into his head and he's like, hey, you need to stop. And he's like, no, you need to be with us. If you love me, you'll be with us. And he's like, this isn't what I taught you and taught the X-Men. And Charles Xavier's got his shit straight. The guy can't walk, right? He knows what he's talking about, right?
Yep.
And he's just like, well, no, if you're with us, you do this. Like, well, no, I will stop you if you don't stop yourself. And he's just like, well, no, you're either with us or just stay out of it. And he's like, no, I will stop you. He's like, I don't want to do it, but I will stop you.
I'm your real dad. I'm gonna put you down.
And it's like, fuck, what is he gonna do? And then that's like the end of the book, and I'm like, fuck, like what's gonna happen? So now I have 3 more books to read.
Ooh,
Real
you need
interesting. All the filler, of course. I mean, yeah, we're gonna talk about every single little piece, but it's definitely a good read. You definitely feel both sides, and you're just kind of conflicted, like what do you do in a situation like that? especially knowing the history of the Phoenix, the Dark Phoenix. Like,
It was a nasty history. You do
not
not
a
want
good
to
time.
cosmic force.
No. And
And
and the other thing too is that I kind of forgot in the beginning is that they thought Scott and company thought that they would be able to control it. So like they were gonna let her channel the Phoenix, but they were gonna control it. It was gonna be different this time. Sounds like politicians. It'll be different this time if you put me in office.
lies people tell themselves. Lies people tell themselves.
That motherfucker is in denial if I ever seen it, and I don't mean the river in Africa.
Oh, for sure. And I will say I do know a spoiler about what happens next, but I won't spoil it.
Cool, because
It's
I'm actually going to read it soon, so I'll know. And then we'll definitely discuss.
We will discuss. It is nasty. Spoiler alert for everyone else. It's nasty.
I can't see it going good anyways, and I truly believe the end of the series it's going to be messy. I don't know if it's going to be a happy ending or not.
Yeah. I mean, how do you set something like that up to be a happy ending? Because you're pitting two groups against each other. Someone's going to go away unhappy.
Two elite groups, mind you.
Two elite. The elite of the elite in the Marvel Universe. Like,
Yeah.
I know. I'm definitely going to have to read it, though. Even though I know a lot of the big plot points at this point, I have to go back and read it.
I will definitely let you borrow my series if you want to.
Yes, please. Is there anything else you would like to tell me about the comic or like to say about the comic?
That's from what I've read so far, it's definitely a good read. I definitely would recommend it if you are a fan of the Avengers and or X-Men.
Which who
I
is a fan of one or the other, at
Yeah, I
least?
mean if you're a fan of one or the other or both, like luckily I'm a fan of both, so I'm like, fuck, I need this series. Like there's not too many series that I hear of and I'm like, I need to go get this. Like I'm not super into like what's coming out all the time though either. Sometimes I just hear like, hey, this is coming out.
Right.
Like the latest comic book series I want to get is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. We had
Mm-hmm.
talked about that a little bit last night. I won't reveal who, but um, the masses had their opinion on who they feel that it should be. They had a couple of ideas who they would have liked to see it be. I really like their choice with it. It's going to be really good with character development. It's going to be interesting to see that dark side of the turtles. 'Cause it's one last brother, avenging his other one. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, that's one I'm going to be picking up soon. I think. I'm not sure, but I thought there is or there's going to be another Avengers versus X-Men. Have you heard
Ooh.
anything?
I haven't heard anything about that, but I could see them doing that, especially now that
Depending on how this one ends, if they're continuing this one or if they
yeah. I
do
don't know if they
another
continue this
reboot.
one or just find another reason for a conflict now that all the movie rights are in the same house. They might want to call attention to both teams and highlight them again. But I don't know for sure. Maybe I'll look it up and put a little note like down here. Sometimes I do
Just
that.
in the link below.
Or comment if you know. I don't know. You already said what you wanted to say about the comic. So thank you for being on Drunk Comics.
Thank you for having me drunk on comics. Wait.
Cheers.
Cheers.